Okay, let's take a look at working with the CSV file. I've created a file. I might already have it open here. I think I do. No, I don't. Never mind. Okay, so I've created a file, and let's see, open with. I'm looking right at it. There it is. Open with Notepad. Now, I put numbers in here first. That's the title of the column. And then I have my numbers 3, 5, 8, and 1. Now, to create a file, if you want to do this yourself, if you're on Windows, you come down here, and of course, it depends upon your version of Windows. But if you got Windows 10, there's a type here to search. Otherwise, you can click the Start button here in the lower left and search for it. But I want to go to Notepad. And I've created a file here, or I'm going to create a file, so I'll give it some kind of name. Nums 7158 258 2, whatever you want to put in there. Now, when I do a file save, I want to change it to my working directory. Mine's already set into the working directory. And see where it says text documents? I want to change that to all files. And I'll call this test2.csv. And then click save. I don't think there's anything wrong with leaving those open and accessing them in R, but we'll see. But this is the file we had to work with. I'm going to work with this one first, test.csv. In case you're wondering what does a CSV represents, it's a comma separated value. If we had multiple data in there, which we'll look at in our second example here, then you would see commas between them. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my R environment. I'm going to do this in a script. So I'll do a new script, and I'll give it some kind of name. File save CSV testing.r. Okay, click save. Now I'm going to set my working directory in here. There's also explanations on how to set it permanently, and there's nothing wrong with using that. I have it stored in a work directory like that. Now I could do a git work directory to see what it is, but that isn't necessary. D1 for my data set 1, and then I do less than dash and read.csv, and I'll give the name. What was the name? Test.csv. Now do D1. By the way, if I do an edit, run all, so you don't have to save it before you can run it. But it sets the working directory. I read in the CSV file, one I just created, and when I do the D1, that prints it. So you see it prints it. It's got the numbers column and then the numbers underneath it. Now, let's say I want to figure out the average of those numbers. So I'm going to do a mean, and then D1, $, and then the name of the column, numbers. What was that? D1 there. Oh, I didn't do an enter. Okay. Now do an edit run all. And 3, 5 is 8, plus another 8 is 16, 17. I'm not very good with basic math in my head, but that seems very reasonable for the mean. So that's how you figure the numbers based upon that. Now, let's change our second file that we created, put in a second column in there. Let's see. So nums and, I don't know, sales. Comma 1100.33, 1200.99, 1300, 1700, 2100, 3,300, and 4,400. Notice there's commas between our data, and there's a comma up here between our titles. So save that. This is test2.csv. So I come over here. I'm going to leave that code there because I'm going to copy that. D2, my second data set. Read.csv, test2.csv. And I'll do D2 just to print it. And now I'm going to find mean of D2 $, and our two column names are nums and sales. So if I did nums like that, and if I did sales, you don't have to do both in case you're wondering. Let's see, edit, run all. This first one, I'm reading this in, and I got two columns. And so to access the first column, which is called nums, then I'm going to refer to it as D2 $nums. And I just did a mean function just for testing purposes. Now, if I want to access sales, that's where I do D2 $sales, and that'll access my second column. And that took the average of those. Of course, I don't know the average either one of those, but I trust R calculated the average correct. And that's how you can work with CSV files.